The Associated Press, which has long not only given in to political correctness and woke language, but has in some ways led the charge in the past, they are now banning the people who follow the AP guidelines from using the term mistress. What's a mistress? A mistress is a lady who's sleeping with a married man, right? No longer. The AP stylebook says, quote, "Don't use the term mistress for a woman who's in a long-term sexual relationship with and is financially supported by a man who is married to someone else. Instead, use an alternative like companion, friend, or lover on first reference and provide additional details later." Now you see the problem with friend, say. I am friends with Andrew Klavan, and Andrew Klavan is a married man. I do not want there to be any confusion about the nature of our relationship. So you've got these very vague words, friend, companion. They don't tell you anything. Then you've got a more specific word, lover. But there are all sorts of lovers. People can have lovers in a perfectly above board way, or at least relatively above board way. But when you're sleeping with a married man, that's not above board. That's wrong. That's sinful. You shouldn't be doing that sort of thing. But we're not allowed to use the term mistress. Whatever term you end up using is going to acquire negative connotations. This is called the euphemism treadmill. Steven Pinker, who is no conservative, but he's a Harvard professor, he pointed this out a number of years ago now. The idea of the euphemism treadmill is that radicals want to deny harsh realities, so they sugarcoat them with euphemisms. However, over time, the realities remain. And so the realities, because they continue to assert themselves, will recolor the euphemism that people add to it. So whatever word you're going to make up for mistress, it's going to take on a negative connotation. This is true for people who have mental deficiencies. Initially, terms like simpleton or idiot or moron were, or retard for that matter, were, you might say, euphemistic. They were terms that were trying to describe in a way that was relatively polite and inoffensive this deficiency. But because the deficiency is not particularly desirable, by definition, it's a deficiency. Over time, it takes on a negative connotation. And so rather than just trying to be compassionate to people who have not just mental deficiencies, but all sorts of deficiencies, and we've all got something. Instead, what these linguistic verbal hygienists want to do, these cultural radicals want to do, is just come up with a new term, and they think that's going to change the underlying reality. It doesn't really happen. And I don't want to just straw man the AP's argument here. The AP goes a little bit further. They say, quote, "We added this guidance last year. It's not new. We understand it's problematic that the alternative terms fall short," like suggesting that if I am friends with Andrew Klavan, that implies something that nobody wants to think about. "But," they write, "we felt that was better than having one word for a woman and none for the man, and implying that the woman was solely responsible for the affair." Well, it doesn't imply that the woman is solely responsible for the affair. There are all sorts of terms for a man who cheats on his wife with some woman. You call him a cad, you can call him an adulterer, you can call him a womanizer. There are plenty of terms for that. But you're right, it's not the same term. It's different. You wouldn't call a man who's in a similar kind of relationship a mistress. But the words are different, not because of the unfairness of our language and the patriarchy. The words are different because the sexes are different. And the sexes are very different in this regard. Very rarely are you going to find a young man who is a kept man from an older woman. He's pursuing this older woman who's got a family, but she's cheating on her husband with this younger man, and it's an illicit relationship. But, she keeps him up in a nice apartment or something like that. That's just not how it works. Men and women have different relationships to sex. Their sexual desires are of a different character. The significance of sex to them is of a different nature. The things that men would do if they were not hemmed in by the moral order and our marital vows sexually are different than the behaviors that women would engage in. Feminism seeks to deny this. Leftism broadly seeks to deny this because they cannot stand the difference between men and women. It's why they're so obsessed now with redefining men to become women and women to become men and defining sex as a social construct. But there actually is a difference. And that's why there are different words. And you can try to change the words, but it's just not going to change that reality. Stop. Don't go anywhere. Don't. I know you were about to. Don't. Before you go, you got to smash the like button. You got to subscribe. YouTube does not want to be regularly serving up this kind of content, okay? Not totally in accord with the sort of things that they think. So do that. You click, you're good. I'll see you next time.